Alrighty, so today we are going to do the last review of an MLS match week before we go a month because of the Leagues Cup tournament, and this, of course, is part two of the review of this weekend's action of match week number 27. And we're pretty much now looking at these Eastern Conference matchup or interconference matchup because the last 8 games on top about, I think all these games are either Eastern Conference matchup, interconference matchup. There isn't really one that is an all Western Conference matchup, as we already did that back in part number one. So that being said, let us begin with the first game, which is Atlanta versus Columbus. And I gotta say, I did not see this one coming. And honestly, it's not very often I say that with an Atlanta United game, and also not often I say that Atlanta surprise everybody with a win in a game because yeah, coming into this game knowing that I know the Crew had a bit of a rough game in the last game where they just couldn't finish against Charlotte. Otherwise, they could have got all 3 points. And I know it's a short week going on the road, but this is a Columbus team that has been just really good this season on the road and against an Atlanta team that has been pretty much mightily struggling for the past month or so. Yeah, I did not expect it that Atlanta was going to win this one, and it was not a fluke too. I mean, Atlanta, I thought they played well in this game, and also it's not like Columbus started a weak roster. Wilfred Nancy put his starters into this game, and yet Atlanta was the better team in terms of finishing those chances that they had in this game, and they got that from a very unlikely source. Now, in the first half, Schlitz would put one wide from the header before Cucho mishide from long range. Ramirez then put it wide from close range, but then on the other end, Schulte would absolutely, or actually not Schulte, I'm sorry, Hagen would rob Thierry from point blank. I forgot Schulte is not with Columbus right now because with the Olympics. So ignore the fact that I put Schulte there instead of I should have put Nick Hagen in there for this Columbus team. Wouldn't be surprised if this won't be the only time I accidentally put Schulte name in there. But I thought it was a lively start to this game. Both of these teams were pressing for the opener. Again, just a reminder, both of these teams play in the best of three series, and I mentioned that was probably the most entertaining best of three series I've seen in the first round. And at least early on, it looked like we were in for another one with the way that both of these teams were getting some good chances. Arfsen would hit it right to Guzan, and really after a fast start, things did kind of calm down. There was not really much happen for a period. Guter would put it wide from long range, but then in the 36th minute, Diego Rossi scores. So he scored here to give Columbus a 1-0 lead. Guzan did make an original save there, but it falls right into the laps of Diego Rossi. I mean, he's not gonna miss a tap in like that. So yeah, the Crew are up 1-0. You're thinking, well, looks like this is gonna be an easy win for the Crew, is it? They're probably gonna get a second or third pretty soon as the game goes along. Well, that being said, John De Silva did look to respond, but he hits it right to Hagen, and we do head to halftime with Columbus leading 1-0. In the second half, Cucho puts it over from close range, but then in the 60th minute, Atlanta ties the game up, and it's Stian Gregerson, his first career MLS goal. He scored from Lobjanidze here to tie the game up at one apiece, and it came from a corner. I mean, it was a great delivery there from Saba. And then Gregerson, a guy that I didn't know to this day. He's known to be a menace. I mean, I know he's a very tall center back, but yeah, he was definitely a menace in this way. He was definitely doing his best Christian Benteke impression with him with these bullet headers. And yeah, he scored here to tie the game up at one apiece, as I mentioned, first career MLS goal as well. Lennon then had a shot that was deflected and goes high. The momentum was definitely with Atlanta. They were pressing to get that second goal. Schlitz would have a shot that was deflected and goes wide. And that also came from the corner as well. Columbus was having a lot of problem in terms of defending corner in the second half, and that kind of continues. Rios would then hits one right to Hagen, and then in the 77th minute, he did it again. Stian Gregerson score from a bullet header from Lobjanidze, pretty much a carbon copy of the first goal, where again, the Crew not doing a good job in terms of marking Gregerson there. I mean, to be fair, Gregerson, he did a good job in terms of rising up high, using his height as an advantage, but still, yeah, not good enough defending there from Crew. I mean, you would assume that a guy that score on you on one of the corner, you would think maybe they should really double team and mark him very closely, and that time the Crew definitely did not do so. And yeah, just like that, Atlanta has turned it around. They were leading 2-1 in this one, and it could have been 3-1 if it wasn't for the post denying Saba from close range before Cucho would flash one wide from close. Cucho then flashed one wide again, this time from long range. Atlanta definitely was holding on for dear life, and this is where if you're an Atlanta fan, you are basically sweating, or depending on which Atlanta fans you're asked, you might think it's inevitable that they're going to concede a goal because this is too good to be true that they would be beat against the defending champ. And in the end, it turns out it wasn't too good to be true because they do beat the defending MLS Cup champion. They win 2-1 in this one. The shots in this one, Columbus actually had more of the shots, 16 shots compared to 14 that Atlanta has. Atlanta had more of the shots on goal. 6 shots on goal compared to 3 that the Crew has. 10 shots off target for the 3 that Atlanta has. 4 shots on block for the 2 that the Crew has. And possession-wise, 65% possession compared to 35% possession that Atlanta has in this game. So certainly Atlanta ended their MLS season before the Leeds Cup break on a high and kind of a bit of an unexpected win, but they'll absolutely take it. But for Columbus, I'm pretty sure they're glad that the MLS is going to take a pause for the Leeds Cup because these last couple of games they have not looked like the Columbus Crew that we know of, and I know for a fact that Wilfred Nancy will definitely make some adjustment. Well, first, obviously he's gonna coach the MLS All-Star team before making some adjustment to his team, and he'll definitely enjoy that experience. But yeah, he's probably not happy with how they've been playing in the last two games, especially finishing has been a problem for Columbus in these last two games, and this was another one of an example of that. But that being said, moving on in terms of the next match is Miami and the Chicago Fire, and I would like to say that this felt like a very Chicago Fire-esque kind of road game, isn't it? In a game where I said before that Chicago does have an advantage over Miami. It feels like they're one of the few teams that you would expect them to have a good history against Inter Miami, and they had a chance to once again prove that by getting a point out of this game, and then yeah, the peak Chicago Fire moment happened. These boneheaded play that we've seen them do on the row happen, and it basically cost them all 3 points in this one. Now, early on, obviously Messi was honored before the game for his 45th career trophy after winning Copa America, so certainly good to see that. And obviously, as I mentioned, Messi his status of returning is still going to be unknown, and pretty much it hasn't been official, but it's unofficially confirmed that he's not going to be playing in the MLS All-Star game because of damage to his right knee ligament. But in the 4th minute, Brady denied Alvarez from the or yeah, as that was the first shot of the game. But then on the second shot of the game, it's in the back of the net. It's Miguel Rojas. Welcome back to Inter Miami. So he scored here from Taylor and Alvarez to give Miami a 1-0 lead. Kuipers did look to answer, but he was denied by counter. We then go for a period where not much really happened between both of these teams. The next chance came in the 31st minute when Gresso missed wide from close, and then the post with denying Gresso, but it actually recycled back to Redondo. So the guy that scored the brace in the last game tried to score another one here, but he couldn't put it on target. He puts that one high. Miami was definitely pushing late to try and make it 2-0 in this one. Suarez tried to do so, but he hits it right to Brady. We do head to halftime with Miami leading 1-0. In the second half, Brady would deny Suarez from close before Wenger would miss wide from close in the 55th minute. Miami feels like they picked up where they left off. They were pushing to try to get that second goal. But credit to Chicago. They were still hanging tough in this game, and they started creating some good chances themselves. Jimenez would hit one right to counter before counter had to deny Gutierrez, and he actually gave up a rebound, and somehow, in some way, very unorthodoxly, as he made that save and gave up the rebound, he basically kicked that ball away before Mueller pounced on the rebound. That is something I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper does when they decided to give up a rebound and then they were able to kick it away before there's a attacker to get onto the rebound. But what a heads up play that is from Drake Counter, and once again showing why he is one of the best or one of the best goalkeeper in this league, and maybe even in contention for goalkeeper of the year as well. But there was no doubt that the Fire has the momentum. They were looking to try to get the equalizer, and they got it in the 73rd minute, and in a very unlikely source as well as Rafael Schihos. And he did not score from the header. It feels like all the goals that Schihos score has been from the header, but here he scored a bullet of a shot from Jimenez to tie the game up at one apiece, and you're thinking, well, now the momentum with Chicago, are they going to maybe turn this around? Nope. Instead, just a minute and a half after they tied the game up, and after all the hard work they done, they immediately gave up goal and give the lead right back to Miami. It's Jordi Alba that scores the goal here, but really it's just a gift. I mean, this was just a miscommunication between Brady and Pineda here. Both of them kind of collide with each other. Brady basically called off Pineda. Pineda didn't hear it. They collide, and there was a loose ball that goes right into to Alba, and Alba basically said, "Thank you very much. It's an empty net." And yeah, just like that, it's a 2-1 lead for Miami. Again, just very, very peak Chicago Fire moment to see them playing well, even against the supporter shield leader right now. And they have these kind of moments that cost would end up costing them 3 points. Ruiz then skies it from long range before Brady tipped over Suarez free kick in the 84th minute as Miami were looking to put this game away. They were looking for a third goal. Alba would then puts one onto the roof of the net before Brady denied Wenger on a 1v1. And then counter denied Kutsia from close, and then Kuipers hits it wide from close range. And this is where I started asking, will these missed chances that Miami has late in the game come back to haunt them? Because all of a sudden, Chicago was pressing to try to get a late equalizer, but unfortunately, it was not meant to be. And Miami hold on to win 2-1 in this one. Shots in this one, 19 shots for the 14 that Charlotte has, or not Charlotte, I'm sorry, Chicago has in this game. Charlotte, of course, I'll talk about their result against Austin in a bit. 9 shots on goal for the 6 that the Fire has, 4 shots off target for the 6 that Miami has, 2 shots off block for the 5 that Chicago has, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Inter Miami has. And with this win, and also Cincinnati losing their game as a little bit of a spoiler alert, Miami has now extended their lead in the Supporters Shield race, and they're definitely putting a big rip in terms of that Supporters Shield race right now. I mean, they, even though I know that they didn't play particularly well in this one, they still get the win because that's what Inter Miami is all about. But also, you can also thank the Chicago Fire the fact that again they had a chance to get something out of this game. I think they played well enough to at least get a point out of this game. But in typical Chicago Fire fashion, they find a way to lose game because of making some boneheaded play. And yeah, there you go. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is the Canadian Classique between Montreal and Toronto. So as I mentioned before, we have seen some really good Canadian Classique in the last couple of games, couple of high-scoring affair in the Canadian Classique. Unfortunately, this was not one of those. I mean, this game, yeah, this was a bit of a letdown in terms of what I was really hyping to be a really good Canadian Classique, but Toronto wouldn't care because I gotta say for TFC this game felt like what kind of got them success in the beginning of the season and why they kind of got off to a surprising start. We knew that John Herman team in the beginning of the season, they're a team that aren't the most entertaining team to watch. In fact, it can be very boring to watch them play, but somehow they've become very compact in their defensive shape, able to nick a goal, and they get a 1-0 win to get all 3 points, and that's exactly what they did in this game against Montreal. Now that being said, early in this game, yeah, not much really happened. In fact, the first shot didn't come until the 13th minute, when Martinez would miss wide from close range. That would also be the only shot for the first 35 minutes of this game. Nobody seems to know how to attack, at least in the first 35 minutes of in the final third. And to everybody's surprise, it turns out we would actually get a goal in this one, despite being a very boring kind of game. As in the 38th minute, Richie Larea scored his first goal of the season from Insigne and Benedeschi, and no one celebrated because everybody thought that the flag was eventually come up for offside, and it was really close. I mean, I think it was close enough where I'm surprised they didn't go to VAR. Well, they probably did. They did check to see if that indeed is offside, but eventually they did confirm that. But yeah, again, in a game where there's only been one shot in the game and only the second shot in the 38th minute, it's in the back net. That's how sometimes these MLS games turned out to be. Vaseline did look to answer, but he puts it high after just a bad turnover from TFC. TFC definitely didn't commit as many bad turnover as they did in previous game, and again, that's kind of explain why they end up winning this one. Because again, one of the problem for Toronto these last couple of games, their defense have completely collapsed. I mean, their defense have looked like the defense from last season, and we know they clearly don't have the attack to be able to overcome that, and that's even with those two great Italian players that's been kind of struggling lately too. Both Insigne and Benedeschi. It's been a while since either of them has been able to put the ball into the back of the net, but we do head to halftime with Toronto leading 1-0. In the second half, there was a huge shout for a penalty for Montreal not given before Owusu would hit it right to Siwas. That kind of came off of a lightning counter attack, which I thought that was kind of the game plan that TFC was going to approach the rest of the game. They're going to make things as tough as possible for Montreal to try to break them down, and they're going to rely on counter attack. Though in the 70th minute, Benedeschi would puts it high from long range. Montreal continued to dominate possession, but problem is, they were having a lot of trouble in terms of breaking down this Brazilian TFC backline. And again, this TFC backline, with the way that they perform in this game, looked very similar to the beginning of the season. They were very compact. They were tough to break down, and that's something that I think John Herman is very happy to see because that's been something they have not done in the last couple of games, and really ever since this winless run has happened. Saliba then hits one right to Johnson before Johnson denied Opoku as the flag went up. Martinez then puts it high on the doorstep of goal. I thought TFC kind of started to hang on a little bit. Montreal was continuing to press hard to get the equalizer, though Marshall Ruddy did look to try to finish it, but he puts this one high. And then Joseph Martinez had a big opportunity in the second minute of stoppage time, but unfortunately he didn't put it on target. He hits it wide from close range. And yeah, in the end, it was a bit of a dull Canadian Classique, but TFC fans wouldn't mind. They get the win in this one. They swept the Canadian Classic series, which I think that's the first time that has happened in a while between both of these Canadian teams. But the shots in this one, 11 shots for the 6 that TFC had, 2 shots on goal for the 1 that Montreal has, 5 shots off target for the 3 that Toronto has, 1 shot that was blocked for the 2 that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that Toronto has in this game. So yeah, again for TFC, big win in this one, not just getting one over their rival again, but and this long miserable winless run that they had that really kind of is a huge fall from grace after a good start that they had this season. And for Montreal, this has to be very frustrating because again, this is a game that they definitely sense that they can get all 3 points and get revenge, especially against a poor TFC side. And knowing Montreal, coming into this game, they were also I think like 7 game unbeaten at Stade Saputo. This was a team that started to get their home form back in shape, and yeah, that unbeaten run has come to an end because of this Canadian Classic defeat. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is New England and FC Dallas. So this was a game that was actually very similar to this one as well, where there was times where not much happened in this game as well. In fact, what's kind of crazy about this game, when you look at the stats, it's almost identical. Like this game had 11 shots and compared to 6 in terms of the visiting team. This was the same thing. The home team got 11 shot and the away team got 6 shots, and the away team got 2 shots on goal, and the home team got 1 shot on goal, just like this one. The only difference is that this game ended in a draw, even though it looked like for a hand that maybe New England did enough to get all 3 points in this game. So early on, the post did deny Miller and the refs opener in that one. I mean, that would have been a great moment there for Peyton Miller getting his first start, the 16-year-old, but the post had other ideas. New England, I thought, started well. They were looking to try to get the opener goal, though Sante did had Dallas for shot, but he puts that one wide. The shots were 3-1 for New England early in this one, but again, we go for a period where not much really happened between both of these teams. Neither of these teams can create in the final third, just like what we saw in the Canadian Classic earlier. Tafari would then puts it wide from close before Wood heads it wide from close range. Ariaga then heads it wide from close in the 45th minute, so all of a sudden got a bit of a flurry of chances, but we do head to halftime with the scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, not much better happened in the second half when it comes to attack. There was really not much chances to be shot for, but the first real opportunity we had in the second half, it's in the back of the net. It's Tafari that score that is registered the own goal for Dallas. So here we go again. You know, own goal was a big story when it comes to the midweek action. It feels like own goals were the player of the week with the way that there was so many own goals that's being scored. And here we go again. We've seen it. I think this is one of 2 own goals that we saw this week. I know the other one was in that dumpster fire derby between the Quakes and Minnesota, but Yeah, I also think that, this was a bit questionable, that the fact that they register as an own goal, because on replay it looked like Wood might be the one that got the last touch. And honestly, I feel like they should have just given it to Bobby Wood. I mean, he hasn't scored in over a year. Give this guy who hasn't been scoring a lot a goal, and also give the assist to Peyton Miller too. I mean, that would have been a great moment for the youngster too, to get on the assist chart on his first start. But again, the scorekeeper is not that kind to New England. But what is kind for them is that they got a 1-0 lead. And then it looked like they were make it 2-0 just 3 minutes later when McNamara puts it into the back of net, but the goal was disallowed because of offside. Pass then denied Harks, but the Revs did get a second crack of it, and then Bai puts it over the bar on that second attempt. And then Ansa would hits one right to pass in the 88th minute. Again, New England were getting some good chances to put this game away, and will there be regret that they didn't get that killer second goal? Well, the answer is yes, because a penalty was given to Dallas late in this game as Kessler would brought down Scott in the box, which allowed Ariella to steps up to take the penalty, and he buries it. So yeah, that ties the game up at one apiece. And then Ariola looked to steal one late in this one. He missed that one wide in the 8th minute of stoppage time. Keep in mind there was 11 minutes of stoppage in this game, and yeah, Dallas, they were looking to try to steal one as they were pressed to try to get the late winner. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. They would have to settle for a 1-1 draw. Though you can't say the same thing in terms of telling the fans that attended this game at Gillette Stadium. The boos were rained down hard at Gillette Stadium, and I don't blame New England fans getting very frustrated with this performance, considering they had the lead for a long time now, and it's another game where they blow a late lead, and just kind of sums up of this season that has just it's been horrendous, and now still stuck in the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and have now started another winless run. They have now gone 4 games without a win. Shots in this one, like I said, very similar to the Canadian Classic. 11 shots for the 6 that Dallas had, 2 shots on goal for the 1 that New England has. 4 shots off target for both of these teams. No shots that was blocked for the 4 that New England has. Oh, I didn't write the possession. I think it was something like uh like 63% possession compared to 37 that Dallas had. New England pretty much control most of this game, at least in the possession wise. But yeah, again, it doesn't matter because of the way that once again they draw points at home. And that now the thing that they'll need to look forward to is not only just Leeds Cup, but also can they do enough to make a push to the playoffs? Because as I said, I do feel like even though I know there's some very bad team in the East right now, but they're still within range in terms of the playoff position. And even if New England is still sitting in that bottom spot, I think they're after today they're what, like 6 or 7 points out. And I know there's not really a lot of game left in the season after the Leeds Cup break is over, but it's still doable. But if they're going to do so, they need to go on a run and not have these kind of resort of dropping points against the Dallas team that maybe a little fortunate that they got a point out of this game, because Dallas was not at it in this game whatsoever, and kind of stole a point as a result of it. But that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last 4 games to conclude the review of match week number 27, and pretty much conclude reviewing MLS game for at least a month. So moving on, in the next game is the Red Bulls and Cincinnati, and I know there are certain teams that are very glad that the Leagues Cup is about to start, and that there's going to be a month-long break for MLS because they're not doing very well in the league. But I argue Cincinnati might be the team that is actually doing very well this season. That is really glad the Leagues Cup is now here, because man, what a disastrous week this has been for FC Cincinnati. They got nothing out of this week, and now are slipping away in terms of the supporter shield race. Remember how they got that 6-1 win against Inter Miami to get themselves at the top of the supporter shield race? Yeah, little do we know that these next couple of games, not only they have suffered a bit of a letdown, but yeah, I'm glad. I think they are glad that the Leeds Cup break it is, or the MLS is going to be on a pause in terms of the Leeds Cup tournament, because Pat Nolan's got some things to deal with in terms of trying to sort out what has gone wrong to the Cincinnati team in these last couple of games. Now, early on, Manuel had a shot that was deflected and goes wide as the flag went up, but in the 6th minute, and really the first shot of the game, because the Manuel shot didn't count because of the flag being went up. The Red Bulls take the lead. It's Lewis Morgan. He scored from Manuel to give the Red Bulls a 1-0 lead. One thing I want to say about the Red Bulls in this game, they finally show that clinical finishing. This has been something that they've been missing in the last couple of games, and it's no surprise that when they can show that clinical finishing, they are definitely a team to be worried about. And yeah, they get a 1-0 lead in this one. Kelsey did look to respond, but he hits it right to Cornell. And really, I thought after a slow start to this game, Cincinnati kind of started to grow into this one. Though, as I said, that Manuel would put it wide from close range as the possession was 63-37 in favor of Cincinnati 29 minutes in. But that's kind of expected because you know the Red Bulls, they don't like possession. They've been always been one of the lowest possession team in the league because that's how the Red Bull system works. But in the 31st minute, Saotano would deny Morgan, but he was able to recycle, and Edelman had a chance to score on the rebound, but it was deflected and it clipped the post before Younger would put it wide from close range as the Red Bulls were pressing to try to get the second goal. Though Kubo had a chance to tie it for Cincinnati and probably should have tied it because he had a free header here, but unfortunately he missed this one wide. Again, that just kind of sums up Cincinnati luck lately when the fact that they have suffer a bit of a dip of form that even in front of goal they're starting to struggle compared to what we see before. Because if this was Yaya Kubo a couple of games ago, he probably would have buried that 10 out of 10 times. But we do head to halftime with the Red Bulls leading 1-0. In the second half, you would assume that maybe Cincinnati was going to get back in track because the cavalry started to come for Cincinnati with both Lucho Acosta and Oriano comes into this game. So again, another thing I want to say in this one is that, as I said in the preview, was going to be interesting to see will Cincinnati finally be able to break that curse of Lucho not starting in the game and them getting a win? Well, turns out that curse is still going to continue because in the 52nd minute, Red Bulls take a 2-0 lead, and what a strike this was from Kyle Duncan. Definitely in contention for goal of the week, along with the many goal of the week contention I've already mentioned in yesterday's review. But yeah, that made it 2-0 in this one, and then Saotano would deny Morgan in the near post, and then in the 59th minute, Morgan would score his second goal of the game. He scored from Carmona and Eli to make it 3-1 or 3-0 in this game. It would be eventually be 3-1 in the 67th minute when Corey Bear did get one back for Bupenza and Acosta. They did go to VAR to see whether or not if this goal should have been counted because originally it was waived because of offside. And upon review, they said that the goal counts because there was no offside. So yeah, just like that, you would think Cincinnati is back in this game with a 3-1 lead. Well, in the 80th minute, Acosta trying to pull within one, but he curls it wide from close range. We then had some coming together between both of these teams, and then Kip Calder of all players would score an Olympic goal there. I have no idea what it was he doing in terms of taking corners there. But yeah, he looked like he scored an Olympic goal there. And keep in mind, the Cincinnati has scored Olympic goal against the Red Bulls before. It was Harris Medunian, the one that scored the Olympic goal. Bet you did know that. I would give you a Harris Medunian reference in this game, didn't you? But yeah, it looked like he scored an Olympic goal here, but the whistle had already gone. And to be fair, the whistle was already gone before that ball ends up into the back net, so nobody really move when that ball goes in. But we then also had some coming together again as the games really started to get physical. These two teams do not like each other whatsoever, and we saw it last year in the playoffs as well. But in the end, the Red Bulls, they win 3-1 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati had an 8-game winning streak coming into this game, and they were going to go for the record for the most consecutive win that an MLS team has ever had on the road. Yeah, it didn't happen in this one. That winning streak is now over on the road as the Red Bulls gets the wins. Shots in this one, 17 shots for the 7 that Cincinnati has, 4 shots on goal for the 8 that the Red Bulls had, 5 shots off target for the 1 that Cincinnati has, 1 shot that was blocked for the 4 that the Red Bulls had, and possession-wise, 61% possession compared to 39% possession the Red Bulls has in this game. And like I said, Cincinnati is very happy. The fact that there's a Leeds Cup tournament and there's going to be a break from MLS because my goodness, what a fall from grace it's been in the last 3 games. They really hope that they could get the sword out in the Leeds Cup because I do think that Cincinnati is still a team that I would consider myself one of the favorites to win this whole tournament. But they need to get it together. And I know that the defense is a big issue with this team. Obviously, part of that is because there's a lot of players on this team injured on the defensive front. But still, Um, Now the big issue for this team is going for on the attack it as well, and this is getting to a point where they also hope that Lucho Acosta doesn't get injured at any point of the season, because it is pretty clear they're really heavily rely on him. We're seeing the effect of Cincinnati when they don't have Lucho Acosta, how they just look like a complete different team compared to a team that should still be contending for supporter shield, and probably will still compete for supporter shield, but it's definitely taken a big hit in this last week. But for the Red Bulls, this is a massive win. I mean, this is a win that they've been wanted to see for a long time now. The poor finishing in the last couple of games have really kind of cost them points, but not in this one. They get a massive 3 points against a struggling Cincinnati side. Now, moving on in the next match, we got Orlando versus NYCFC. So yeah, this was a game where it could have gone either way in terms of how both of these teams have played. Both of these teams had many chances, but ultimately they have to settle for a 1-1 draw. Though early on, yeah, if you watch the first 20 minutes of this game, I send my condolences because nothing really happened in the first 20 minutes of this game. The only thing that was notable was the kickoff had to be retaken because of it wasn't taken in a correct manner. But the first shot of the game did see Angulo puts it wide from close in the 22nd minute before Alonso Martinez with NYCFC for a shot, but he hits it right to Galese. The shots were 3-1 for Orlando half hour in. Just kind of shows you how boring this game was in the beginning. It eventually picked up though. Wolf would hits one right to Galese before Angulo would hits one right to Freeze, and we do head to halftime with the scoreline scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Rodriguez would puts it high from close range, but then in the 52nd minute, Orlando would get the opening goal, and he just cannot stop scoring goal right now. Romero Enrique. I mean, he's definitely taking advantage the chance that he's got now that Duncan McGuire is with the Olympic squad. So he scored here from Ojeda to give Orlando City a 1-0 lead, and you're in a you're in a red hot form when you can even score off of a deflection. Like when you're a guy that has a nose in front of goal and in incredible form, sometimes those luck is going to go in your way. Unfortunately for Orlando is that lead didn't last long. In fact, it barely lasted 5 minutes before Hannes Wolf would score from Martinez and Rodriguez to tie the game up at one apiece, in which it looked to take the lead for NYCFC, but he puts that one wide before Freeze would deny Enrique from close range, and then Rodriguez had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. Then Cartagena puts it wide from long range in the 83rd minute. Both of these teams were exchanging some chances, and as the time went down, both of these teams were pressing late to try to get the winner. Bakura tried to do so, but he hits it wide from close range before Moriel trying to score late in this one, but he only hit it right to Freeze as the full time whistle was sounded. So yeah, in the end, it ends in a 1-1 draw in this one. Shots in this one, 12 shots for the 8 that NYCFC had, 3 shots on goal for the 5 that Orlando City had. Both teams had 3 shots off target, 2 shots out of block for the 3 that Orlando City has, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that NYCFC has in this game. So yeah, it was just one of those games where both of these teams had their moments of getting all 3 points, and I'm pretty sure both head coach will be a little frustrated that they weren't able to capitalize on some of these chances to get the big win, but they'll definitely settle for a draw coming out of this game. Now, moving on into the next game is the Union and Nashville SC, and I think it's safe to say that maybe the Union is starting to be back. Though again, that is maybe just a little bit of an overstatement. Consider these last 2 games they play against 2 of the worst teams in the league. They play against a New England team that is injured to hell, and they play against a Nashville team that is one of those teams that they are very happy that the Leeds Cup has put a break to ML that's because these last couple of games, my goodness, it's been a horror show for Nashville SC. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see oh god, who I put here. This is actually kind of embarrassing. I couldn't even read my handwriting there. Yeah. Oh, it's Davis, the one that puts it wide on the header. See what happened when I decide to write things very fast. I can't really read my handwriting. But that being said, the first shot for the Union is in. So as in the 10th minute, Daniel Gaston would score from Flock and Sullivan to give the Union a 1-0 lead. And this is Quinn Sullivan, the one that got the secondary assist, and not Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan didn't play in this one. In fact, I don't think he's going to be appearing for the Union for the rest of the season, as when he got called up, it was on a short term loan itself, but still great experience for the 14-year-old, especially breaking the record that we thought we never would see this day, where another younger kid that is not named Freddie Adu would make his debut for in an MLS game. But I also would say that that was a filthy finish there from Daniel Gazdag. So while this Union team has struggled lately, Daniel Gazdag certainly hasn't struggled. I mean, that was just a true form of a guy that has a lot of confidence right now. Finish it with a filthy little chip to ganked it over Willis. And then Gaslight looked to try to get another one, but this time Willis was not having it. He denied him there. It was all Union early in this one. They were pressing to get the second goal, and they do get it. As Daniel Gastak would score from Uru and Sullivan here. There was a hint that maybe that was offside, but they said that the goal was good. So yeah, that made it 2-0 in favor of the Union, and that would be the scoreline heading into halftime. In the second half, Blake would deny oh god, I wrote the wrong play here, didn't I? I wrote the opposition goalkeeper here, even though that's not the case. But he did allow a rebound there from Coleman and Wheel, who both had a chance to tap this one in, and guess what happened? They didn't tap it in. By the way, it was actually Blake the one that denied Mukta on this chance. But yeah, I mean, both Coleman and Mule had a chance to tap it in, and probably should have tapped it in. But it also kind of sums up the luck that Nashville has in front of goal. They just have no luck whatsoever in front of goal, and really that's kind of been the case throughout the season. But what is also the case is that their defense has completely collapsed in the last couple of games as well. And then the post with denying Coleman from the headers. So talk about having no luck whatsoever. Now the post gets in the way of a chance. Schaffelberg then puts it high from long range, as I thought Nashville started to get some sustained pressure. They were looking to try to get one back. Ariako tried to do so, but he hits it wide from close range before Willis would deny Bueno. But Barrebo would get a second opportunity here. But unfortunately, he hits it right to Willis. It wouldn't have counted either way because the flag would have come up on Barrebo. Bueno then puts it right to Willis in the 83rd minute. The Union were looking to put this game away, and or well, not put this game away, but really put this game out of reach with them getting the 3-0 lead. So on the other end, I wrote it. I did it again. Blake. It should have been Mukhtar there instead of Willis from close range in the 85th minute. I really apologize that these last couple of reviews I've been really bad when it comes to writing down names and stuff like that. I need to stop rushing so much writing the notes here on the board. But that being said, in the 88th minute, the Union would make it 3-0, and the hat trick would be completed by Daniel Gazdak here. I believe that's his third hat trick that he has during his time with the Philadelphia Union, and he can also thank Brett Coleman for that hat trick because yeah, Brett Coleman just gift wrapped this with him getting pickpocket in his own half, and he was one of the last man back. So when that happens, yeah, that is not a great moment if you're a defender. So yeah, that made it 3-0. Adeniran did look to make it 4, but he puts it high as he was looking for his first career Union goal. He was definitely hungry early in this one. Sam Adeniran making his debut for the Union. He had another chance just a minute later, but he hits one right to Willis. And yeah, in the end, the Union get a 3-0 win over Nashville. The shots in this one, surprisingly, Nashville actually had more of the shots in this one. 20 shots for the 19 that the Union has, but this is where the difference of this game came, as the Union had 10 shots on goal compared to 3 that Nashville has, 8 shots off target compared to 1 that the Union has, 6 shots as blocked compared to 8 that Nashville has, and possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession the Union has in this game. And again, the Union, at least in the last 2 games, they look like the Philly Union of old. But we'll see whether or not if that's going to be the case. Continue when we go into the Leeds Cup, or even after the Leeds Cup. When I mentioned before, they got a really tough schedule coming out of the Leeds Cup, playing against some really good team in the Eastern Conference. And if they can win those games, then you can maybe say that the Philadelphia Union might be back. But for Nashville, again, they're one of those teams that they are very thankful that the Leeds Cup is here, and that the MLS season is take to a pause, and they're hoping that maybe deja vu will happen again. Where last season we talked about how Nashville was heading into the Leeds Cup, kind of limping and looked like they weren't going to do anything, and they only went and go all the way to the final, and was just a penalty kick shootout away from lifting the Leeds Cup. And they're hoping that that's going to be the same thing. They'll once again have success in the Leagues Cup, and when it comes to league play, they'll probably worry about that once the season resumes. But that being said, moving on into the last game of this review, and the last game I'm going to talk about for a month, as I mentioned, the league is going to be pausing for a month because of the Leeds Cup, is Austin and Charlotte. So this was a game where it was kind of almost a combination of both happened what I expected both of these teams has, where Charlotte, they've been in a really good form and looked like they were going to get a win in this one. But then Austin, again, we said it so many times this season, forget the XG and get the expectancy allowed goal. Somehow in some way this team find a way to score a goal out of nowhere, or get a fluky goal out of nowhere to get themselves a point, even though they have no business in terms of doing so. Now early on, in the third minute, Zardes with the game first shot, but he puts it high from close range. I thought Austin was on the front foot early on, and Charlotte, just like the last game, they elected to sit back early, absorb the pressure, but unfortunately, unlike the last game where they were able to absorb some pressure at least for a bit, they gave up a goal relatively early this time. It's Alex Ray. Remember him? He's still with Austin, and keep in mind he's still the captain of this team. It feels like he's been there for a long time now, and it is the case. Again, one of the few remaining original player that's been with Austin since day one. So he scored from Pereira and O'Brien to give Los Verdes a 1-0 lead. And then in the 17th minute, Shvedetsky looked to respond, but he missed high from long range. Remember Gary Shvedetsky? Yes, he's back with Charlotte FC, and I don't think I've said this before, but as much as I said that that Charlotte really need to find a DP number 9, maybe Karol Shvedetsky might be the answer. I mean, it's not really a new signing because he's just coming back from this team after the club that he's currently on, that he went on loan in Italy decided not to buy him outright. But in this game, it just kind of shows you that how important Karol Shvedetsky was with this team, and how it was kind of crazy when I thought that they decided to let him go because of how good of a season he had last year. And it's also no surprise that instantly this Charlotte team looked much better going forward on the attack and looked much more threatening that Shvedetsky is back in this team. Tavares did try to tie it as well, but he puts it wide on an overhead kick there. So Ludo Tavares was trying to do a little bit of a spectacular goal. Didn't happen though. But it was a good response for Charlotte. They were looking to try to push to get the equalizer, and they have a chance to do so because a penalty was given to them in the 32nd minute after Rain brought down Tavares in the box. So yeah, Alex Rain basically went from hero to zero in this first half. And here comes Shvedetsky, a chance to score on his return for Charlotte, and he buries it. So the game was all tied up at 1 apiece, and that would be the score line heading into the second half. And in the second half, Shvedetsky had a chance to score for the first time in open play in his return for Charlotte, but the post was having other ideas because of it. But there was no doubt that that moment also was a moment where Austin just got away with one because again, this is the problem that Austin has had at least in their first season, where they always are a team that whenever they come out of the locker room, they're not engaged whatsoever, and it almost happened again, like literally almost straight from kickoff. Charlotte was able to take the lead as a result of it. But that being said, in the 54th minute, Hedges would heads it over from close range before Stuver would deny Shvedetsky on the doorstep in the 52nd minute. But then in the 56th minute, Charlotte would eventually take the lead. It's Leo Tavares. He scored to give the lead for Charlotte. Really a deserved the goal too, because they really started the second half very well. And then he tried to score again just 2 minutes later, but Stuver this time was able to deny him. Hedges then heads it wide from close range. We then go for a period where not much really happened, which I thought that kind of played right into the hand of Charlotte. It feels like Charlotte was really just kind of shutting things down and making it really tough for Austin to break them down. But if there's one thing that I tell about Austin this season is that for whatever reason, even though when they're not playing well and when they look like they're not going to break teams down, somehow in some way they find a way to score a goal to kind of put against all odds. They able to get themselves a huge goal, and it happened again in the 80th minute because really again just completely out of nowhere, really just the first real opportunity that Austin has had ever since the Matt Hedges chances. Gallagher would score from Rubio and Rain to tie the game up at 2 apiece. And keep in mind, John Gallagher has not scored for Austin in a very long time. In fact, I think this is his first goal of this season so far. So again, it just shows you that really just kind of came out of nowhere. Austin somehow find a way to tie the game up. Though Diager did look to get the lead back for Charlotte immediately, but he puts that one wide. And really, as the time winds down, both of these teams were pushing to get that big 3 points. Bender tried to do so, but he hits one right to Stuver. And yeah, in the end, it ends in a 2-2 draw in this one. The shots in this one, 11 shots for the 12 that Charlotte has, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that Austin has. Both teams had 4 shots off target, 3 shots that was blocked for the 2 that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that Charlotte has in this game. And I know, obviously, Dean Smith will be a little bit irritated the fact that you can get all 3 points in this one. At the end of the day, getting 5 points in this last 7 day, especially with the way that all three of these games have been road games, and again some really good team in the last two game that is against the two Ohio team. He would definitely absolutely be thrilled because of that. But for Austin, again, I know I think I always keep saying that they simply can't keep getting away of this getting these lucky kind of moments. And there are some games that it's kind of proven that when it doesn't happen, yeah, this team looked like the worst team in the league. But hey, as the old saying goes, sometimes it's better be lucky than good. And Austin is definitely riding some of that luck this season in a game where I think Charlotte was the better team in this one, and at times kind of outplayed them badly in this one. Able to salvage himself a point out of this game. There you have it. That is pretty much it for the review for match week number 27. And also, that is pretty much it in terms of me doing a review of an MLS game for at least a month, because with the MLS All-Star game that is going to happen, and obviously I know I sound like I'm doing the last review this season, but obviously it's just a month-long break. And obviously the MLS All-Star game doesn't count because it's not a competitive game, even though I'll still do a review on that game as well. We're not gonna be reviewing a competitive MLS game until late August. And with the Leeds Cup itself, I've been debating whether or not should I really cover the Leeds Cup very well. Me and pretty much a lot of fans around MLS has their different opinions about the Leeds Cup. Some people like it, some people really hate it, and in my opinion, I'm kind of leaning toward the hated part because of all what the Leeds Cup has done when it comes to really damaging other historic competition like the U.S. Open Cup. But at the end of the day, I can't go a whole month without doing a review. I'll still review some Leeds Cup game, though I'm not gonna be doing what I did last season, where I think I was able to review every single Leeds Cup game. I probably won't do it this year just because of the fact that again I just I don't know if I want to take this competition seriously. I mean, for some fans, they will definitely take it serious, especially with teams that are not doing well in the league. They feel like the Leagues Cup is a way for them to salvage the season. And knowing the fact that both of my team is not doing very well in league play, I will definitely root hard to see if both of my team, the Quakes and Minnesota, can do well in this tournament itself. But overall, I just have that feeling of the fact that I kind of don't want to see. I eventually don't want to see this Leagues Cup to be very successful to a point where, as I said, it's a very controversial tournament, especially of what damage it has now done to some of the other historic kind of competition that we seen, that is the U.S. Open Cup. So yeah, I'll probably won't do every single game though as we get closer into the final and heading into the last couple of game of the knockout stage. I'll definitely basically start to do every game, and I'll definitely do a review of the final if it's gonna be one MLS team is involved. I'm not gonna review games that's gonna be all Liga MX involved, because again, it's going to be the Leagues Cup in terms of how I review. It's going to be similar to what I do with the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I only review CONCACAF Champions Cup game that an MLS team is involved. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for this video. And as always, let me know in the comments below what do you think this video, and also let me know in the comments below what do you think these 8 games I've just reviewed. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.